Hello everybody, it is Sean, the TTRPG Traveler, back again for part 2 of the Tamer review. In the first part, we did the base class plus the spells. So today we're going to focus on the subclass and the companion that they give for free. No video of me this time. It's early in the morning, so we're not really, I don't feel like showing that side of me. I have to make the videos while the baby's still asleep. So sorry, no video. We're just going to focus this time on the subclass and the companion. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So our training paradigm. Tamers follow various training paradigms that define their bond with their companion or the companions themselves. The paradigm you choose reflects your approach. So this is the Infuser Paradigm. Infusers meld the power of the elements with their companions through the act of summoning. How you came across this power is anyone's guess. Perhaps you took a tumble across the elemental flux during an interplanar voyage. Were born with some primordial heritage, or were tutored by an elementalist wizard. However it happened, you have the ability to empower those with which you are most closely bonded, your companions. Okay. Our third level infuser feature, first one is infuse. You have a deep connection with the elements and can infuse your companions with primordial energy. When you finish a long rest, you can choose one of the following elements with which to individually infuse each of your companions: acid, cold, fire, or lightning. When you do so, any previous infusion on those companions end. The first time your companion hits a target with an attack on its turn, it deals 1d4 additional damage of the infused type. This damage increases when you reach certain levels in this class: 1d6 at 6th level, 1d8 at 10th level, and 1d10 at 14th level. So this is nice because it's saying, right, if you choose to give one a fire infusion, the next time you summon that companion, it doesn't have to be fire still, right? You can choose a different one. Or if you have a couple out, you can choose different infusions for each companion. And then it's the first time your companion hits attack on its turn, right? So basically one attack each turn, it can do the additional damage. It's not each attack, just the first one. Third level infuser feature number 2 is Infuser Spells. You learn additional spells when you reach certain levels in this class, as shown in the Infuser Spells table. Each spell counts as a Tamer spell for you, but it doesn't count against the number of Tamer spells you know. So this is just like additional spells for like Ranger, Druid, Cleric, right? You get these spells. They're not like the Warlock where you have to, they're just added to your list. Okay. So third level Tamer gets Hellish Rebuke and Peppermint Plate. Fifth level Tamer gets Eel Skin and Riptide. Ninth level Tamer gets Protection from Energy and Wind Wall. 13th level Tamer gets Control Water and Fire Shield. And then 17th level Tamer gets Fever Skin and Wall of Stone. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 of those are Loot Tavern spells. Okay. All right. Elemental Discharge, 7th level Infuser feature. Your companions gain the ability to unleash a torrent of elemental energy in a devastating blow. When you infuse a companion at the end of a long rest, it gains an action option corresponding to the chosen element. The DC for the saving throw equals your Tamer Spells save DC. All right, so the first one we have is Acid, Caustic Mist. Your companion disperses an acidic vapor into a 20-foot cube, originating from it that lasts for 1 minute, or until dispersed by a wind of moderate or greater speed, at least 10 miles per hour. Each other creature that starts its turn in the area must make a Constitution saving throw, taking 44 acid damage on a failure, or half as much damage on a success. So this one's interesting because it doesn't say the first time they start or when they enter the area. This is just at the start of their turn. So you could technically, as a DM, um, you could have a creature move into the area, or if you're as a player, you could have a player move into an area. Um, well, as a player, it wouldn't really work. More as a DM, if you want to do it as a DM, a way to get around it would be to have a creature move into the area and then before its next turn, have the effect dispersed. Another creature blows a wind gust, whatever. Okay, so it's not when it enters the area; it's only when a creature that starts its turn in the area. Right, cold snap freeze. Oops, cold snap freeze. Your companion absorbs the heat in a 10-foot radius sphere around it. Each other creature in the area must make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, a creature takes 48 cold damage and its speed is halved until the end of its next turn. On a successful save, it takes half as much damage and its speed isn't affected. So this would be a good one for if you're having a companion that you're using to kind of put as a frontliner. It'll slow down creatures to get them from coming into the back lines. So that would be a good infusion for that type of character or that type of companion. Fire, Flame Tongue. Your companion unleashes a raging inferno in a 25-foot cone. Each creature in the area must make a dex saving throw, taking 66 fire damage on a failure, or half as much damage on a success. The fire ignites any flammable objects in the area that aren't being worn or carried. Kind of a standard fire. Lightning Spark Step. Your companion discharges lightning in a 10-foot radius sphere centered on itself. Each other creature in the area must make a dexterity saving throw. On a failure, a creature takes 46 lightning damage and it can't take reactions until the start of its next turn. On its success, it takes half as much damage and can take reactions as normal. After the saving throws are resolved, your companion can immediately fly up to 30 feet as part of this action. Now, notice it doesn't say it doesn't trigger attacks of opportunity. So if they made their saving throw and you leave their reach, they'll still get to make an attack of opportunity if you fly away. If they failed their saves, then yeah, they don't get to take a reaction. So something to consider if you use that ability and you want to fly as a reaction. Okay. Once a companion uses one of these actions, it can't use any action granted by this feature again until you finish a short or long rest. Starting at 18th level, a companion can use this action twice before a rest, but only once on the same turn. So in other words, it's a once per rest, so once per short rest, once per long rest. Then starting at 18th level, they can do it twice per rest. Okay. Okay. 10th level feature, Primordial Shield. Your companion gains resistance to the element with which it is infused. When your companion takes damage of that type, you can use your reaction to bolster its defenses, granting it immunity to that type of damage, including against the triggering damage until the start of your next turn. Once you use this reaction, you can't do so again until you finish a short or long rest. So you always gain resistance at 10th level to whatever element it's infused with. But if you want, you can use your reaction, if you still have it, to give immunity until the start of your next turn. But it's only once a short or long rest. So you can only do that once, the immunity, but you'll still have resistance. All right, Unstable Fusion. 14th level Infuser feature, sometimes more is better. As an action, you can infuse your companion with a second element for 1 minute, choosing from the options in the Infuse feature. Your companion gains the benefits of the Infuse, Elemental Discharge, and Primordial Shield features for both of the elements with which it is infused. If you activate your Primordial Shield feature while Unstable Fusion is active, your companion gains immunity to both damage types. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. Okay, so you get for your capstone for this feature, you get 2 elements for 1 minute, and then if you use the reaction for the Primordial Shield, it's not like one reaction for, it's not each individual element. You can't say like, oh, I activate the fire immunity, so I still have a lightning immunity. No, it activates both of those immunities at the same time. Okay, so that's something to be careful about when you're using that feature. Okay, all right. So that is it for the Infuser subclass, the Infuser Paradigm. Okay. Remember, there's a lot more training paradigms, both in Heliana's, but also in a lot of other creators' books. And then Loot Taverns, also with D&D Shorts, has Ryoko's coming out, which has a lot more companions. I know things like Steinhardt's and a few others have those. If you're interested in the list, I know on the Discord server, I think they've been keeping a list of all of the supplements that use Heliana's crafting and or have companions or tamers with them. Okay, so let's go ahead and speaking of tamers, let's go to the companion that they give, which is the Dragonling Familiar. I am not going to attempt to do a German accent here. Humperdinck, the Biomancer, so I did my best to downplay the greed tendencies, but these adorable drakes just can't help themselves. If you need ein hot toddy or hold beer in a Giffy, chuck van a gold or silver coin and watch it get to work. Oh, can't. It is can't. Okay. Like a dragon, but a little less greedy and a little more pliant, Dragonlings are Humperdinck's attempt at retaining a dragon's useful characteristics and limiting the more tyrannical ones. Able to shift its makeup depending on the metals to which it is exposed, the Dragonling is an adaptable, if distractible, companion. Okay, so here is in the Heliana's Guide and stuff, whenever they give you a tamer, they'll give you this kind of sheet that shows you all the different improvements. So level 1, we have growth 1, level 3, harden 1, level 5, growth 2, breath weapon 1, multi-attack, 9th, blind sight and harden 2, 13th, growth 3 and breath weapon 2, and 17th, we have wing attack. And it'll kind of show you where the prerequisites are, right? Growth 1, prerequisite, or growth 2, prerequisite is growth 1, growth 3, prerequisite is growth 2, breath weapon 2, prerequisite, breath weapon 1, harden 2, prerequisite, harden 1. Okay. So real quick, let's go back to the main tamer to talk about these improvements. So we have our monster trainer feature, right? As you gain levels in the class, your companions become more powerful. Your companions use your proficiency bonus. Okay. But here's where we go, training. Whenever you gain an ability score improvement from gaining a level in the Tamer class, you pass on your Hardened Resolve to all your companions, causing them to gain 1 additional hit die. Increase your companion's hit point maximum by rolling this hit die and adding your companion's con modifier. Whenever you gain a level beyond first in this class, each companion to which you are bonded gains 1 of the following improvements. Bespoke familiars, such as those from Heliana's Guide or Larson's Ledger, have unique improvements that can be taken instead of these. So that's what we're going to be talking about, this bespoke companion, bespoke familiar. Okay. Any newly gained companions receive these additional hit dice and improvements as if you had them since your first level in Tamer. So for the ASIs, you get an extra, like we said, ASI, you get an extra hit die, but each level you get to choose a improvement. Okay. So if we come back here, right, our companion here, right, at 5th level, you can only choose one of these. But at 6th level, you can choose another. 7th level, you can choose another. 8th level, you can choose another one. Okay? So technically, you could get all of these improvements, plus you have the standard ones right here. Speed training, toughen up, ability boost, go for the throat, survival instincts, and war training. Okay. And we'll come back to that one more time in a second, just because I know the first feature. Okay. All right. So type of familiar, it is a dragon. Bonus tamer improvement, growth 1 and +2 hit dice. So if you are a tamer and you take this familiar, right? Remember familiars, you can make all of these familiar choices for the find familiar spell, but you only get these improvements if you're actually a tamer and you want to tame it. Okay. So growth 1 and +2 hit dice, plus 1 additional hit die when the tamer reaches 3rd, 5th, 11th, and 17th level. Applied retroactively. Okay. These are in addition to those normally granted by the tamer class. So what this is saying is that on your normal ASIs, so tamer, our ASIs are at our standard ASIs, right? 4, 8, 12, 16, 19 are our ASIs. Your companions get a +1 additional hit die. But then if you're a tamer, if you get growth 1, you also get an additional hit die. You get +2 hit die plus an additional hit die at 3rd, 5th, 11th, and 17th level. Okay. So they get to be really beefy if you're a tamer. Okay. And then we'll talk about growth 1 when we get to all of the rest of the features. If any of the Dragonling's traits or actions require a saving throw, it is always against the Dragonling's save DC as calculated below. So the save DC is 8 plus the Tamer's proficiency bonus plus the Dragonling's con modifier. So let's go ahead and take a second and look at its stat block. Okay, it is a tiny dragon. Remember, all the familiars start off as tiny. Okay, so tiny dragon. It has a lawful good alignment. Armor class is 14. Hit points 3, 1d4 plus 1. So again, as a find familiar, as a familiar, it has really low hit points. But if you're a tamer, you can really start to boost those hit points up. Okay. Speed 25 feet or fly 30 feet. So it's got about 5 extra feet for flying. Just looking at modifiers, strength is a +2, dexterity is a flat 0, con is a +1, intelligence -1, wisdom is a 0, and charisma is a +1. Skills, it has a +2 to perception. Damage resistances are in the metallic character trait, which we'll talk about in a minute. Senses, it has 60 feet of dark vision and a passive perception of 12. No languages, 1/8 challenge, and a proficiency bonus of +2. No languages, but remember it understands you. Okay. So our first feature here is greedy. Whenever the Dragonling first detects treasure worth 100 gold pieces or more that isn't being worn or carried, it must succeed on a DC 11 Wisdom saving throw or get distracted. While distracted, it spends its movement and actions trying to get close to and frolic in the treasure. A distracted Dragonling repeats the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on a success and becoming immune to the allure of that treasure for the next 24 hours. So it says when the Dragonling first detects treasure worth 100 GP or more. So I think an interesting interaction here is like, obviously, if you go into a treasure room and it's gonna see things that are worth it, then yes, it's gonna go. It needs to make the wisdom saving throw. But that's kind of like the obvious one, right? I think a not obvious one, if you're a GM and you have a Tamer companion that has a Tamer player that has a Dragonling companion, something interesting you could do is if you know within like a room or two that there is a treasure that has that's worth 100 GP or more, you could make them throw the saving throw, and then if they fail it, they run off in the direction of wherever that treasure is. So then the party, which might be the opposite direction of the direction the party wants to go. So then the party has to decide, like, do we follow the dragon or do we like do what we were supposed to do? So that might make for some interesting play right there. Right? Metallic character. When the Dragonling's Tamer finishes a long rest, the Dragonling gains an affinity for the element associated with the first precious metal it touches. This affinity grants the Dragonling resistance to that damage type and lasts until its Tamer next finishes a long rest. Copper gives acid affinity, gold gives fire, and magnetite and silver give cold. Okay? So this is good. The three basic types are acid, fire, and cold, and they give you to those just like the clue here in Humperdinck's is those are your coins, right? So if you wanted to have acid affinity, give it a copper coin to touch. If you wanted to have fire affinity, give it a gold coin to touch. If you want to give it a cold, give it a silver coin to touch. Magnetite is special for the breath attack, which we'll talk about later, but it's also found in one of the Heliana's hunts. Okay, so magnetite. All right, and then for actions, has a bite, melee weapon attack +4 to hit, reach 5 feet, 1 target, hit is 5 average damage or 1d6 +2 piercing damage. And something to note in this stat block is it doesn't have multi-attack, right? So for the Tamer, if your creature normally has multi-attack in its stat block, you automatically gain access to the multi-attack. But because it's not in its stat block, you have to select the multi-attack if you want the multi-attack. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and look at all of these improvements. Okay. So Monster Trainer, a Tamer with a Dragonling familiar can grant it the improvements listed in this section using the Monster Trainer feature, in addition to those normally granted by the class. Our first one is Growth 1. Remember, you prerequisite became a Tamer's Companion, so as soon as you are a Tamer and you make it a Companion, it automatically gets this one. You don't have to choose it. It's a passive type, it's a passive improvement. The Dragonling size increases to small, and its hit die size increases to a d6. Its hit point maximum consequently increases by 1 for each of its hit dice. The damage of its bite attack increases to a d8. The Dragonling gains this improvement when it becomes a companion. It doesn't cost an improvement, okay, like I just said, right? So if it's just a familiar, the bite is a 1d6 +2, but if you're a Tamer, then it's a 1d8 +2. Okay. All right, Harden 1, third level prerequisite. It's another passive. So the Dragonling gains a +2 bonus to its AC while it isn't wearing armor. So that brings its AC up to a 16. Okay, Breath Weapon 1. It's a active improvement, so you have to activate it. This is at 5th level for Tamer. As an action, the Dragonling can unleash a torrent of elemental energy. Each creature in an area must make a saving throw, taking 5d6 or 17 average damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. The area, damage type, and saving throw depend on the Dragonling's affinity. This is the metallic character. Okay, so copper, it's a 5-foot wide, 30-foot long line that requires a dex saving throw and deals acid damage. Gold, it's a 20-foot cone that requires dex saving throw and deals fire damage. Magnetite, it's a 20-foot cone that requires dex saving throw, deals piercing damage. And silver is a 20-foot cone that requires con saving throw and deals cold damage. After the Dragonling uses this action, it can't do so again until its tamer finishes a short or long rest. When the Dragonling's tamer reaches 9th level in the tamer class, this action's damage increases to 76 or 24 average damage. So this is a once per rest. Okay, so you can only use the breath attack once per rest. All right, multi-attack. 5th level, it's active. I mean, I would almost say it's passive because as an action, the Dragonling can make 2 bite attacks. It's right. If you make 1 attack, you can make another bite attack. I suppose you don't have to make 2 attacks, but if it's at this point, if it's free, if you've selected this one, I don't know why you wouldn't go ahead and make 2 attacks. I feel like that should be type passive. Okay, growth 2, prerequisite 5th level tamer, growth 1. So you automatically growth 1, so it's not like you have to choose. It is a passive. The Dragonling size increases to medium, and its hit die size increases to a d8. Its hit point maximum consequently increases by 1 for each of its hit die. Remember, that's retroactive. Okay. The damage die of its bite attack increases from a d8 to a d10. Okay. Next, we have Blind Sight. For 9th level tamer, it's also passive. The Dragonling gains Blind Sight to a range of 15 feet. Harden 2, 9th level, you need Harden 1. It's another passive. The Dragonling gains +2 bonus to its AC while it isn't wearing armor. This improvement is in addition to the bonus from Harden 1. So again, if it's not wearing armor, you can get this AC up to +18 using Harden 1 and Harden 2. So if you're really interested in just making it bulky and you don't want to pay for barding, then you can use those. But that's something you might have to look at. Like, do you want barding? Is barding going to give you a better armor class? And then I would say if you're going to do barding, don't take the Harden and use those improvements for these other improvements that you get from the Tamer class. Right, that's two extra improvements that you can use from here. Whereas if you're not going to use barding, then if you want to make sure it's a little bit stronger, go ahead and take the Harden improvements. Okay. All right, Breath Weapon 2. Breath Weapon 2, 13th level tamer, prerequisite Breath Weapon 1. It's an active. So damage of the Dragonling's breath weapon action increases to 96, 31 average. The area of the cones increases to 30 feet, and the length of the line increases to 90 feet. The Dragonling gains a +1 bonus to the save DC of this action. When the Dragonling's Tamer reaches 17th level in the Tamer class, the breath weapon's damage increases to 12d6 or 42 average damage. So this is, remember, at 9th level, you're capping out, if you get the first breath weapon, you're capping at 24 average damage at 9th level. So you have to wait 4 more levels, and then you can get 13th level, you can increase it to 96, and then at 17th level, you get your final cap of 12d6. Interestingly, the cones basically just increase by 10 feet because they go from 20 feet cones to 30 feet cones, which is still that's a good amount of extra area, right? Going from a 20-foot cone to a 30-foot cone is a lot more area, but the line increases like by triple. So you're going from 30 feet to 90 feet. So you get a lot more distance. So I would say if you're, again, if you're going to be a ranged attacker, then Breath Weapon 2, you probably want Acid. But if you're going to be in kind of frontliner, midliner, then maybe Breath Weapon 2, Fire and Cold, Piercing, the cones are better. Okay, Growth 3, prerequisite, 13th level Tamer, Growth 2. Dragonling size increases to large. Its hit die size increases to a D10. Hit point maximum consequently increases by 1 for each of its hit die. Again, retroactively. The damage die of its bite attack increases from a D10 to 2d6. Okay, and then wing attack, 17th level. As an action, the Dragonling can beat its wings. Each creature within 10 feet of the Dragonling must succeed on a strength saving throw. DC is 8 plus the Tamer's proficiency bonus, plus the Dragonling's strength modifier, or take bludgeoning damage and be knocked prone. The damage equals 46 plus the Dragonling's strength modifier. Creatures larger than the Dragonling automatically succeed on the saving throw. The Dragonling can then fly up to half its flying speed. So it says if they're larger than the Dragonling, but if you've been taking the growth, all 3 growths, right now it's at a large, so only huge and gargantuan creatures are going to auto-save. Okay? So just don't try to use it against like a kaiju. All right, and that is it. That is our subclass and our companion. Again, there's lots of resources on the Discord server talking about the different, the books that have different subclasses and different companions. But if you want the original Helianas, the Kickstarter is over, the backer kit is done, but you can go to the Loot Tavern website and Helianas is here. So you can click on it here in the wheel, or you can go to the shop. Okay, and here on the shop, you have the deluxe box, the core box, then you have your hardcovers, and then there's also the PDF and all of these additional things. So you can pick and choose at this point what you want. I will give this kind of warning. So they only made 1 production run. So whenever the products are gone, they are gone. Right now, if you buy from the web store, you will be in wave 3. They're finishing up wave 1, which are the Kickstarters. They're getting out the wave 2, which were people who purchased it from like the backer kit before the backer kit closed, or earlier this year. So if you purchase it now, you're going to be in wave 3, which is after those 2 orders have been completed. And they've resolved any like shipping issues. So you can see if you want to know what's in these things. So like if I want to know, oh, Deluxe box, it's 265 US dollars. So all of the prices are in US dollars. That's a bit much. What am I getting for that? You can click on the details and you can see that it is all of this stuff, right? And you can click on these individually and they'll tell you what they are. So it's here's everything that comes in the deluxe box. Okay? The deluxe covers, the pins, the cards, the die. A couple things. So people who've been purchasing it and have been receiving their orders have been going onto the server and sharing pictures. A lot of people, like everybody is gushing about the quality. They're saying it's like one of the best quality 5e supplements they've gotten. The paper's really nice. The books are solid. All of the pins, everything. And if there's any ever issues, the Loot Tavern staff is really, really good about like, if you get in touch with them, they'll try to send like replacements or things like that if something is damaged. Okay. So they said the book quality, part of the reason that took so long from Kickstarter to delivery is they had to redesign the whole spine because the spine wasn't strong enough to hold the book, and they didn't want to give you guys a subpar quality. So they got a whole new spine that could handle how thick the book is. And then the dice, these natural gemstone dice, the pictures people have been sending are just so awesome. They can't tell you what color they are because they don't know. But we've been seeing like purples, lavenders, reds, burgundies, greens, just some really, really beautiful coloring, specklings, spots. They're just natural gemstone dice, so they all have these really unique features. So if you just want to get the like book and then the dice, you can do that. You can order those separately. So like I said, all of the physical products are on a first come, first serve kind of basis. Right now it says they're still in stock. Once they're out, they will be out. So if you want them, I would get them sooner rather than later. But on the server, we also always say financial responsibility comes first. So only, even if you really, really love it, like make sure you're not going to be putting yourself in a bad situation by getting it. Okay. The digital stuff will always be available. So if you want to get the digital PDF, you can always get the digital PDFs. You can always get the digital cards. The maps are by Che and Pico. So you can go get it from their website. You can get the maps from their site. If you get the $5 Patreon from Che and Piku, like you'll have all of the maps that are used in Heliana's. On the server, they have a spreadsheet that tells you which map is used for each map in the book. So that's another really good like thing they do to help DMs out, especially. For the VTT stuff, there's two ways you can get it. You can get the VTT bundles. Those are specific for like Foundry, for Roll20. If you're not sure which one you're planning to use, or if you use multiple VTTs, then there's a digital asset bundle, which basically has a lot of like the tokens and stuff like that. And that can be used for any virtual tabletop. Okay. So again, that is the Heliana's on the Loot Tavern website. They give a lot of Tamer related stuff on their Patreon, and they have like Patreon hunts that give specific stuff. Another thing they recently did that I want to bring us back to the shop for, or not to the shop, for the homepage, is they just had a taming tournament. Okay, so let's go to this one. Okay, so the taming tournament, $12 to $15. It's a 5e adventure for levels 7 to 13. Calling all tamers with the recent success of Heliana's opus, Heliana's Guide to Monster Hunting, and her subsequent speaking appearances at many prominent adventuring guilds. the popularity of the Tamer lifestyle is on the rise. More and more adventurers are discovering the joys of traveling and battling beside loyal companions. To continue showcasing the merits of the bond beyond Tamer and Companion, and to test your mettle against worthy foes, Heliana is pleased to announce the very first Loot Tavern Taming Tournament, or LTTT for short. Okay, so formats, PDF or PDF and digital asset bundle. And then you can come to the website and read all of this. But inside, I'll tell you what's inside it. So 7 different levels of play, fully illustrated clues, pre-built companions. So this is a great thing here. So you have a companions for hire PDF. So you have 6 companions built out for players of level 7 through 13. So basically they can have a companion, they can have a tamer without being an actual tamer. I think that's something that's pretty cool here. But it's really focused for people who are tamers. Okay. So again, they're always adding new stuff for the tamer. So if you really like the tamer, then come to their store, go to their Patreon. They've got a lot of cool tamer related stuff. All right, so that's going to be it. That is the rest of the Tamer reference document. Again, that's free. They have a Patreon version that lists a lot more of the companions and everything like that. But this is the free one that you can use. So last video was the base class and the spells. This one is the subclass in the companion, the free companion, the Dragonling. And then talking about some more stuff from their website. Again, if you want more information, if you're curious about this, come to the Discord server. I'm going to put the link, the invite in the YouTube video. People are super friendly. I'm there a lot. There's quite a few people that are always on, always happy to help. The staff is very helpful. So this just gives you another option for playing that's kind of outside the norm. So hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you found it helpful. Until next time, have a great day.